Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Meta Cafe. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea and sit back because we got some talking to do today. We are looking at some really interesting energies, and I'm trying very hard not to be reactive in my response to these energies. So I want to be reactive in a very positive way, let's say. I want to consciously pass on information to you all today and try to stay out of the anger simmering beneath the surface for me that comes up as I start to talk about it. But that will come a little bit later in the broadcast. First of all, welcome everybody. Good morning. It's good to see you, Suzanne and Joanne, and not sure who that is. Alex, perhaps. Good morning. Good morning, Mimi. It's really good to be here this morning on what is a sunny, beautiful morning here in the Pacific Northwest. The school district in the area I live in has started school today, so my world returns to quiet solitude. And not that it ever really wasn't. I live in a quiet place, but oh my God, Tom Wright, good day, eh, ya hoser? I can join you for 15 minutes. Oh, darn, because it'll be in the latter part of the show that we talk about a fellow Canadian named Jordan Peterson. If you don't know who Jordan Peterson is, you guys are going to learn today. And he is the source of my simmering just below the surface of angry. Yep, even turning off the TV media today. Good thing. Good thing, right? Good morning, Laura. So let's just dive in, shall we? Let's talk about the astrology of the day first. Today, the moon is in Cancer, giving us, of course, access to that more nurturing energy, emotional energy. I have a rising sign in Cancer, and that means that for me, emotion is always very close to the surface. He's the source of hoserdom. I love you, Tom. At any rate, so today we have some interesting energies as we end up with this emotional air or this emotional current that's flowing beneath the stream here. And during this time, the moon is in a sextile relationship with the sun. Sextile is an ease and flow of some sort between your gifts and your talents and the energies that the moon might be bringing to you in passing, right? So whatever shows up today on your outer world screen, there, sure enough, you have the skill, the qualities that you can bring to bear on what is going on in your outer world. I love you too, Tom. Okay, so we also, with the moon in Cancer, we get set up for a grand water trine, albeit temporary, right? Temporary because the moon moves quickly. And that grand water trine happens between the moon in Cancer and Neptune in Pisces and Jupiter in Scorpio. So for a good chunk of the day today, we do have this flowing energy going through the field of emotions. And on top of that, then the moon is also in an opposition to Pluto. So this is a very strongly it's very strongly advised today that you stay in your bodies, right? That you stay within your own emotional boundaries, that you don't let anything like anger or disruption or chaos take you away and put you somewhere out there in the world doing things that you didn't mean to do, right? Stay close to home. And when I say stay close to home, I don't mean home literally, but I mean, keep it reeled in, keep your energy, and recognize when someone else is trying to draw you into theirs, right? And we are always interacting with one another on an energetic playing field. So it's not that, we don't want to interconnect that way, because we do. We don't really have much choice about that. It's happening. But what we do have choice about is how we react to what is showing up on our outer world screen. So Cindy says, darn, I was ready to go home. LOL. That's too funny. You can go home. I give you permission. If today is not a day for you to be in your office or at your place of business, go home. But I think it's more of a juicy day to be out and about, to observe the social behaviors that you see around you. Like, using it as a way to test yourself and your own EQ. Remember last week, maybe it was the week before, we were talking about the EQ, IQ, and SQ through gene keys and how that represented the 3 phases of our early development from birth to 7, and then from 7 to 14 and 14 to 21. So now having, this knowledge, it is wonderful then to go out in the world and play a little bit and see what is going on with, the people around you. It looks like Londa's joining us. She is at the Cancun airport. Awesome. You must be coming home today. Yesterday, she was sending me awesome pictures from Chichen Itza of the pyramids there. And oh my gosh, I was just enthralled. I could live there through her in that moment yesterday, through those pictures. Tom wants to know, Londa, if they're going to let you back in the country. And let's see, Mimi, today is a good day to let off some steam on some scarves. Awesome, right? A creative expression of the energy, but keeping it real. And maybe we can use real in its 2 meanings, right? Keeping it real, R-E-A-L, keeping it real, keep true to yourself. On the other hand, keeping it real, R-E-E-L, when you keep it reeled into you, right? And not, refuse to allow yourself to get drawn out of yourself and into either the dramas in the world. And trust me, at least in this country, in the USA, there's big dramas out there going on. And if I even freaking pick up my phone and look at it, there's always this big, thing blaring across. Now, on one hand, I like that because, as I'm going to share with you in a little bit here, the outer world right now is a huge mirror for us of some things that are happening with us on the inner world. And I recognized that yesterday because one of the things that we started to talk about yesterday was Venus at Gene Key 50, which is about the shadow of corruption. And we started to talk about that. And where we lead to with corruption is to the energy of hierarchies. And what do I see blasted across the news screen yesterday? Is this guy from Canada, Jordan Peterson, and the book he wrote. I wrote the book here. It is the 12 Rules for Life. It's aimed at the disenfranchised white males, and it is very right-wing and very controversial. And he's reveling in that controversy, and he thinks that hierarchies are good. So, and that they are biblical and that they are part of who we are meant to be. Londa, just talking about this morning, that is the truth, right? I've noticed you guys are going to think I'm like whacked out, crazy, weird, but I swear to God, Monday morning, I woke up in a new planet. And I said as much to a friend yesterday, and she said, "Oh my God, Janet, I wrote an article on Sunday about having woken up on a new planet." And I couldn't believe it because I didn't get that article. And so she sent me the article and I'm reading it going, oh my God, how did I tap into that? There's just this feeling that I walked into a different dimension and you guys all came with me. I love that, right? You all came with me into this new planet. And it's a new planet of possibilities, of magic and miracles and excitement. And I feel that, but I also feel the old kind of digging at my heels and trying to drag me back into the drama and the chaos and the craziness. Tom says, yes, I'm whacked out and crazy weird. Welcome to the club. This is a good thing, right? So anyway, the potential for the outer world right now to really mirror things to us must be incredibly high because everybody's feeling it. Everybody is seeing it, right? They're like, oh, we were just talking about that. And here's this article, or we were just, in my world yesterday, I was dealing with the energy of Venus having moved into gate 50. And gate 50, which we didn't get to yesterday, was really about the ideals of corruption and hierarchies and how hierarchies participate. Our hierarchical world has created the need for corruption, or has created corruption. And here it was in my outer world yesterday as this article came across my news feed about this person. Craziness, right? So let me finish up a couple of things astrological, and then we'll dive into the Gene Key 50. There's also an inconjunct going on. You know it as a quincunx. I'm going to highlight it here in my chart so I can show you guys the visual. Of course, then I just ruined that. Okay. So forget this weird line here. That's like a spaceship thinking or something. Here, this isosceles triangle right here is a quincux. And it is pointed over here at Venus, or excuse me, at Mercury and Pallas Athena. And it is being formed at the base between Chiron and Mars. So quite the energy field here. And she says, what Londa says, we did clearing our leaks in our energy field so we can harness our energy into stronger connection, moving into the higher planes of light. The work those girls do is magnificent, by the way, and obviously it has an effect on all of us. So thank you for doing the work you do out there, for using your brilliance in a way that has such strong impact. So let's deal with this inconjunct for a minute, or this quincunx, because it is called the yod. It is called the finger of God, right? And I always, whenever I hear the finger of God, I always think of, spirit coming down with his little finger, just stirring the pot and creating chaos and craziness on the planet. Well, essentially, that is kind of what this configuration is meant to do. It is meant to make us jump out of our skins a bit and create a pathway to a new behavior, a new way of being. And it causes us to have to adjust our energy, adjust our thinking, adjust our actions accordingly. And in doing that, sometimes you have to give up your sacred cows. And so there's this sense sometimes of having to sacrifice something, right? Sacrificing an old way of thinking, an old belief, sacrificing a project that, is going nowhere, whatever it is in your own personal life. The way out is at the point. And the point is at Mercury and Pallas Athena. Mercury is 1 degree out from moving into Virgo and creating, being engaged in the grand Earth trine that we talked about yesterday, that we'll experience later in the week with Saturn and Uranus. So it makes for some very powerful transformational energy, as well as us grounding in the new energies, right? Grounding it in. And when Pallas Athena being involved there is a real call for us as women to rise up to greet the masculine. And it's a real call to the masculine energy to come in and meet the feminine energy to create balance and harmony. Harmony is the Siddhi in the Gene Key 50 that we're going to be talking about today. As Venus has moved squarely into that gate, she spends an extended period of time here because she is slowing down for her eventual retrograde motion. So we have a lot of conversation available now to us around this idea of how do we impact our world in some very positive directions? How do we take what seems to be confusion, right? There's this confusion. As I woke up the other morning and I'm like, I'm on a new planet. I don't get it. I'm on a new planet, but the instruction manual didn't come. Like, I don't know how to live here yet. I don't know how to be here. I don't know how to ground this in. So that is our jobs this week, to ground it in. And the way we ground it in was given to us through the word that Richard Rudd gave us this weekend, and that's through generosity. And I was thinking about this word yesterday as well. Generosity. What did I mean by that? Because that's a big word. It implies giving of ourselves. It implies, it's the possibility that from generosity, we give too much and then we're left empty. And so it gives me this feeling that we have to keep some things in balance or equilibrium, the gift of Venus at Gene Key 50. So it's really kind of an interesting combination. And I want to say today that generosity is in giving of yourself, in the spirit of service. We are now in the time of the sun in Virgo, and Virgo is a sign of service. It gives generously from its talents, from its gifts, from its well, right? Remember, we talked about that with one of the gene keys as well. When we go within, we're able to come from the well instead of having to try to use the outer world to feed us for our path of service. We can tap into the inner world and find our path to service, and in that create a field of generosity. So it is up to us then today. See you, Janet. See you all. Good luck, Lon. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. Take care. I don't know where you're off to, but wherever it is, I hope you have a great day. And Londa, Tom says, don't mention that you know him. Apparently that might cause you not to get back into or across the border. Anyway, Tom, have a great day. Don't forget to listen to the rest of this today later. So it is our path. It is our jobs right now to adjust our relationship to the words we are using and to the meanings we attach to them. Where did I get that? Well, because it is through words. Remember in our human design webinar last week, we were talking about the throat center, and the throat center being the gearbox, right? We want all the energy up from the lower parts to the throat, down from the head and the ajna into the throat, so that we can manifest, so that we can communicate and manifest. Communication linked to manifesting because in the beginning, God said. So there was this template loaded up within us that said that words create. Words have creative power. And through words, then, it is that we are creating our reality. So if you don't like your reality, what are the words that you're using? That's important in all of this. Mercury's at the point of this yod. Mercury and Pallas Athena. Are they empowering or are they disempowering? Right? Do you look at yourself in the mirror and say, God, you messed up again? Or do you say, I have another opportunity to heal, to learn, to grow, to evolve? It's all in how we project the words out there into the world. It's very important. And because Saturn is getting ready to change direction tomorrow, and he is sitting at the gate 10, which is the love of self, it becomes a foundational or a structural opportunity for us to reframe what we say about ourselves, how we say things about ourselves. So important right now. Okay. Any questions? Let's see what things people are saying here. Laura, it's positive. Oops. The pendulum has to swing to the opposite direction before it comes back. At least the pendulum is finally swinging. Absolutely beautiful. So I think I had read the other comments. We did clearing. I love that people are out there doing clearing on the planet. So if you have other questions, feel free to put them in there. If not, I'm going to dig right now into Venus at the gate 50. The gate 50, or the gene key 50, by the way, I use those words interchangeably. The gate refers to human design, and gene key refers to the gene keys in the levels, gift or shadow, gift, and Siddhi. It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. Let me show you on my human design model here where the gate 50 is. So 50 is on the spleen. Remember, all of the things that we are experiencing through Venus, at least through December 17th, are going to be here in the spleen, which is the center for intuition, health, survival, or is it thriving and flourishing? And it is gate 50 that sits right here at the point, and it's leading over toward the sacral. In human design, this is a gate of nurturing, of sharing the values, of transmitting the values of the tribe, the community, the family, to the youth, to the children. And in there is the law as well, natural laws, universal laws, tribal laws, etc. And essentially then what we see here is that laws are all based in values. Values. We go back to Venus here. Venus represents values. And all of these things then are us creating a new set of values. So in this gate, then maybe creating a new set of laws that are not so much human laws based in the fear of the gate, but that of universal laws that are helpful in helping us thrive and flourish. Okay. So let's look at the dark side first. We look at the dark side first because, or the shadow, because it's likely the most common expression of it on the planet right now. And in our recognition of it, We aren't diving into it as a reason to keep it strong on the planet, but to recognize all of the insidious ways that it works its way through our world and in our own personal lives, right? So we don't want to focus on it in a way that empowers it. We want to focus on it as a way that says, aha, I see you out there. I see where you're hiding. And I see now how I can work with my own energy to clear that shadow and elevate it to the gift, which we'll describe tomorrow. The gift is equilibrium. So Venus at gate 50, the gate is called cosmic order in the I Ching. It is the shadow of corruption, the gift of equilibrium, and then the Siddhi of Harmony. And in this particular gene key, we really drive home this concept of as above, so below, where the microcosm is a reflection of the macrocosm and vice versa, right? We get very clear signs of this. For example, when I'm telling you about a gene key today that has to do with hierarchies, and in the news is this energy of hierarchies, a news story literally across my news feed about hierarchies, as above, so below, right? So the gene keys, by the way, they contain an archetypal code, if you will, that explains who we are and where we're headed as both individuals on the planet, but also as humanity as a whole, as a species, and even more universally as a solar system or as a cosmology. So it's really important for us to work through these because it gives us some real interesting insight into who we are and where we're going, right? So the 50th shadow, as I started to speak yesterday to you, mirrors the process in your DNA, within your body, within the microcosm of transcription. And in transcription, a segment of the DNA is copied into RNA and then carried out into a process called translation, where the gene is then expressed. This is an important thing, right? Because if something happens wrong in the transcription, then the translation becomes corrupted. The same thing happens in your computer, right? If data is input and it's input incorrectly, or it gets translated incorrectly from one program into another, the data becomes corrupted. So what we hear in this particular gene key then is that information can become misinterpreted. That in a process in the body, which by the way, the body has feedback loops. So if one, gene being misinterpreted doesn't, take the whole system down or take the whole body down, it would be over time of that consistent misinterpretation of the genes that can cause things like cancer. Or it doesn't necessarily create the cause of it. It's more like the expression of it, right? As the corrupted gene keeps being translated and not the healthy ones. So the process, though, in the body is that your immune system, also a function of the spleen, comes into play and takes out that piece. Right? You've got little, it's really kind of beautiful. Our body has all of these natural things, different enzymes and proteins that can come in, clip the part of the gene that's not the right part or the right expression, and clean it out, right? That's what your immune system's job is. Now, let's apply some of that energy to human societies, because human society comes with our mammalian ancestry of hierarchical consciousness. Right? Hierarchical consciousness was essentially a survival mechanism. It served us well, right? We knew we could depend upon leaders in the tribe to guide us, lead us, get us through a winter. So essentially, it becomes a way for us to thrive and flourish as a species, which we've done, right? But when we apply hierarchical thinking to societies or to social hierarchies, what we find is it creates these deep divisions within humanity and then it gives rise to those ugly things like greed, to division, to desire, to jealousy, to corruption, social corruption, Now, I'm not talking about the kind necessarily that we've been talking about, but the corruption where things aren't going the way they're meant to, right? There's a sleight of hand going on. And all of that transcription energy then misinterpreted in social hierarchies leads us to compete for resources. It becomes a huge trigger for fear. So when this occurs, the data or the information that's incoming from around us or from people is misinterpreted through a shield or a veil of fear, which triggers certain instinctual responses that ripple through us as individuals, through our families, through our tribe, through our communities, through our countries, through the group. The problem here then is about hierarchy, right? Hierarchy. Corruption is merely the byproduct of a deeply flawed worldview. And that worldview is that of hierarchical thinking, right? Where we have levels. You can even think of the caste system that was prominent in India and those kinds of places, right? That brings me to this gentleman, Jordan Peterson, the Canadian. He's a Canadian scholar, and he's the author of the 12 Rules for Life. And as I said in the opening piece this morning, this was aimed at the disenfranchised white male. And this is like so artistic, eloquent in its art imitating life. I'm not even sure how to frame this exactly, but a Canadian scholar. So let's forget Canadian. He's a scholar. So he comes from the world of education. He comes from the world of the mind. He represents the mind. The mind in response to this changing worldview. And it is changing, right? We are recognizing more and more how hierarchies divide us, how it takes away from oneness. And we know the evolution of consciousness is taking us. I know it seems like it's not at times, but it's taking us to oneness. It is taking us to, this utopian vision of world oneness, right? Not world dominance by one person or whatever it is that people fear is happening out there. We are moving toward this interesting oneness where we recognize that we are both individuals, but we're also part of a bigger picture, part of the oneness. And right now, it is white males who are feeling attacked, right? Think about it. As the feminine has been in rise, it has been the white males who are feeling attacked, right? If we have a world where there are equal opportunities, the males, the white males have been the ones, the white patriarchy has been the benefactor, the beneficiary of all of that energy out there, getting better jobs, getting better pay, getting into colleges and universities first, and getting ahead, being able to get the best jobs out there to find their way ahead. And now it's coming to an equal expression with across races, gender, etc. Then it is fear from the white male that is driving this particular expression, and he's finding a very powerful voice out there, right? There's this kickback that's happening from the people who have been the disenfranchisers to the idea of becoming equal in the search for resources and information and jobs and etc. So even though I wanted to be upset, he has some really crazy ideas. His 12 rules for life on the surface seem, kind of okay. And then you read what he means by that and you go, oh. But there's a powerful group of people, the white males, who are feeling, right? They've been up here and everyone else has been down here. And now what they're feeling is this coming into balance. But they're interpreting it as they're losing something. And it creates then these people like this man who has, I don't know, some hundred thousands of viewers on YouTube, and who has a theme. In the article I read yesterday, he thinks he's got the best of both worlds right now, because he says all I have to do is say something to support that's supportive of the people of the groups that I like, and they throw money at me. He's got a Patreon account, and people throw money at him to hear his words. And then he said if he pisses people off out there, his YouTube channel gets hits because people want to hear how disgusting his words are. He's becoming empowered. He's getting empowered because of a group of people who are feeling the change. Now, from my standpoint, I was getting irritated, right? I'm irritated that someone out there like that with that kind of voice has enough power to be able to do that. But it's really just a real reflection of what's going on as groups, are coming, as things are coming into more balance or equilibrium, as we're going to talk about tomorrow as it relates to this gene key. The fear here is that we organize into hierarchies to protect what's ours, to protect our resources, to protect, in the instances of the white male population, to protect their status, to protect their power, to protect all the perks that came along with being a white male in America or a white male in the world. So it's really kind of an interesting outer world expression that we're seeing right now. And the ability that we have as people, not to come out and blast him as, a rotten individual, because that's my first knee jerk, is I just want to go, oh my God, and you people who listen to him are so stupid. But that's not the truth, right? It's just the mirror of where that kind of corruption, that misinterpretation of information is coming through a field of fear and not through love. If we look at that same issue through the lens of love, then what we see is the need to become more inclusive, to make sure that everybody has their part of the pie. And if we don't have enough in one pie, we can make more pies, right? There's no lack here, except that what fear has brought us or brought to us. And of course, we know that fear is false evidence appearing real. It isn't true. It isn't real. So, Mimi, Pallas, I'm going to show this comment. There we go. Pallas, Athena, and Chiron doing a lot of work for the divine feminine. Mama is going to do some tough love in correcting issues. Yeah. But we also have to identify where that's going on within us as individuals. It wouldn't be in my outer world if there wasn't some part of me that's still holding on to that resonance somewhere, whether it's in my thoughts, whether it's, anytime that I think that I can't get somewhere because women can't do that, or anytime that I think I have a thought that I can't do something because of my station or my relative wealth, let's say, or my relative education, I'm holding myself to that energy of hierarchy. I am potentially opening up the gates to corruption, to the shadow of corruption, because I'm misinterpreting what's out there. So we all have to address it within us. We all have to look within and see, where is it that we're holding that? Yeah, I thought that was interesting too, Mimi. She says it's interesting that Bob Woodward's new book is titled Fear. I don't know if I want to read it or not. I don't know if I have time. I have so many other things to do right now. So many other things I want to do that I really don't necessarily want to look at this book called Fear. But I would bet there's some juicy nuggets in there for everyone. And notice now he's almost being as vilified by Trump as Robert Mueller. It's like there's a new punching bag out there for our 2-year-old president, right? Who's modeling to us the behaviors where we are still very consciously immature, let's say, are very immature in our consciousness. It's really kind of interesting, don't you think? Right? The whole world to me is very interesting. All right. So, what we have then is our ability, our need to go through this and become conscious. Become conscious. Oh, yeah. I was going to read an interesting quote that I highlighted somewhere in my book this morning in the Gene Key 50. When the frequency I'm back. So if your screen went black for a moment, it was because mine did. And I don't know, I bleeped out of it the world for a moment. And this is why I keep thinking I keep waking up on a different planet, because I keep blanking out, blinking in, blinking out. It's really bizarre. It's very bizarre. And I think it's possibly possibly my computer, because I put my book on the computer and it's a heavy book, and maybe I did something like told it to go away for a moment. But I'm back. And anyway, I think that is where I will end today's broadcast. That's a lot to chew on. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot for us to take in and become responsible for, responsible for for our own selves, and how it's being reflected to us in our outer world through the people in our lives, our relationships, through the community that you're a part of, through the country that you belong to or that you're a part of. And what does all of that mean? Right? I think I told you all that in our training with Richard Rudd, he says to focus 10% of your energy on the shadow and the other 90% at elevating the planet and the frequency through the gift and the Siddhi. So I present the shadow to you so we can get an eye on it, so we can see where it is, so we can see what it is that we want to work on. Not so that you'll focus on that energy. I want our focus to be on bringing us into equilibrium, which is what we'll go through tomorrow. In the meantime, I hope you all have wonderful days. I am in the process of working on a project that I'm really excited about. I have a couple of people that I am going to be introducing you to very shortly. Today, I was going to introduce you to one of them, but it turns out that it was better for us to do this next week. Her name is Cornelia Stephanie, and she is working on a program called the Millionaire Imprint for Women. And it is about our taking in and empowering ourselves as women to move into the world in a bigger way, to be able to have the resources, and resources right now mean money, to give back to the world at the level in which that we really want to be able to give and share of ourselves. And so I'm really excited to bring her to you. The Millionaire Imprint today is being put out there. I'm actually going to give you her website, corneliastephanie.com. And that way you can take a look at what she's talking about and read some about her. And she will be on the show with me next Thursday, or I think it's next Friday. Yeah, Friday. We decided Friday would be the best day. And so I will introduce you to her. And then yesterday, something very interesting happened. Before I left to go on my trip this summer, I was contacted by a friend. She's a Facebook friend. And she said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to this woman. She's really awesome, and she's looking for an astrologer for a project that she's working on." And she gave me her name, and I wrote back. I said, "Emily, I leave in 2 days. And I would love to meet up with this person, but let her know that I'm going to be out of town for about 4 weeks and we'll get back together. Well, when I got back home, there's been lots going on and I just haven't had the time to reach out to her. But yesterday, this is so funny. So yesterday morning, I thought to myself, wow, I should reach out. Her name is Tam Velo. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right, but Tam, Tam. I said, I really should reach out to her because, it's time, right? It's time. But I had the video to transcribe. I had the whole put it up on my YouTube and share it and all of this stuff. And I had my phone sitting next to me and I get this email or this, messenger message from Tam. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that, right? How our intuition is so spot on when we're open. And she was reaching out to me. And it just so happened I had, 10 minutes at that point to be able to talk to her. And we are going to be working on a really awesome project. I'm going to give you her website too. Her website is called choosebigchange.com. And she is an artist, coach, and she is looking for an astrologer to work on a project with her that is going to marry art and astrology in a way that brings us word pictures. Like right up my alley, right? I love words. Ask Mimi. Mimi and I love words. Words are my thing. And art is her thing. So we're going to marry, and words are my thing. Astrology's my thing. Art is her thing. And creativity is her thing. We're going to marry the two of us together and work on a project for 2019 where we are going to be sharing her brilliance through the creative mode and mine through the astrological mode. And you're going to be hearing more and more about her. The project that we'll be working on is called Big Sky. And I'm going to give you her website, choosebigchange.com. And see if I did that right. Yeah, choosebigchange.com. And she's going to be one of those people, right? The collaboration that between her work and mine can change the face of the planet. And I'm so excited by it. I can't hardly stand it. I mean, her excitement in the project was palpable. I mean, I could touch it. I could taste it. I could sense it. I could feel it. I mean, every sense came alive while I was talking to her yesterday. It was amazing. I don't even know how it's going to happen, but it is. That's all I can say. And she is a Pallas Athena person. She is what did I tell her? She was the embodiment of Pallas Athena. And she is a 0-degree Libra. And remember, it's Pallas Athena was discovered when she was at 0 degrees Libra. So to me, she's the embodiment of everything about the divine feminine, taking back her power and empowering herself to come up and meet the divine masculine, to embrace both the divine feminine and masculine within each of us. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. So, exciting stuff coming. I am also in the process of working on what will be the next webinar in our series. And I have not decided yet how I want to tackle this one because the next one is going to be, the next several are going to be about the gates and what they mean, the gates and the channels, and what does that mean? And I think I'm going to have to do it in bite-sized pieces because it's just too much all in one webinar. So I'm putting my thinking cap on and trying to allow creative expression to come through me and tell me how it is that that's going to be best done. But I will let you know as soon as we do that. I would like to make it so that there's monthly webinars on this subject. And so be on the lookout for that. Let's see what else is going on. I think that's it for today. So we'll be right here tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time, and we will be chatting tomorrow about equilibrium and also Saturn. All right, everybody. Mwah! Much love to you all. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning. Bye for now.